pace with control of this race. Here comes a run from Davey Hazard. He blocks the 10. Not going to be enough. Ryan Pace is going to win at Talladega.
Trying to hold off Wilson. He's done a good job so far. Wilson, one last desperate attempt to the bottom. He won't get there. Nick Curry wins at Bristol.
Coming out turn number 2, coming down the back straightaway here. Looks like he's in a class of his own right now.
Merzlak, one final time, get around the 55, big time send.
He hits the wall, he hits it, he gets the lead, but can he hang on to it? Oh my goodness, he made it to the line!
Big push down the backstretch is going to give him a good run through the corners.
Just a little bit
follow from the 1.
A little bit of contact there for second, but coming to the line, Toby Roberson's going to take home the checkered flag and victory here from the new Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Before I wrap things up here in this segment, your thoughts on the type of race we're going to see tonight? And I would have to agree.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to tonight's feature presentation of the HOBO Racing Cup Series live from the Atlanta Motor Speedway on JTN. We're so glad you joined us here tonight for what promises to be another thrilling night of action here from just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Hello and welcome, folks. As always, I am your host, Joe Twansky. Joining me up here in the booth tonight, you know him, you love him. He's been on a little bit of a hiatus, but we're glad to have him back. The one and only Mr. Ricky Collette. Ricky, welcome back to the JTN booth.
Joe, it's great to be back with you tonight, here to be racing at Atlanta. To correct the audience at home, you changed the locks. You didn't tell me. I couldn't get in. My key didn't fit.
He didn't fit in the booth. Well,
Key didn't fit in the booth. I had a big JTN keychain. Key didn't fit in the booth. My key got lost in the mail or something. I don't know, but I'm back here tonight for some great racing with the HOBO Racing League. And I have a good one tonight from OG, the original, the irreplaceable Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia. Should be a fun one here tonight, Joe. A lot of high speeds, a lot of drafting. I saw these guys really cooking it out there.
Scheduled for 114 laps here this evening around this 1.5 mile speedway. Of course, this is our AutoSim 2 race preview. Remember, AutoSim 2 is now out and available on Steam, so go check it out. And it's AutoSim 2 now available on Steam. But 114 laps here at Atlanta. We saw the guys at Bomb Squad take on the same exact challenge last Thursday night. Here tonight, though, with HOBO, a different cast of characters. Some may be familiar, most are not. For the folks at home, for what they saw Thursday night. So a completely different cast tonight, Ricky, that it's going to make it a completely different race.
Definitely. Going to be completely different. A whole new set of guys kind of learning this track, this version of the track here. So it's going to be more of the same and maybe a little different too. I don't know, Joe. You put two different groups of guys on a track that they need to get familiar with. I don't know. Do you get more of the same or do you just get more like variety?
It's a good question because I feel like you'd see, especially because we talk about it a lot with the guys over at Bomb Squad, the guys here at HOBO. There's a lot of cross-pollination. You'll see a couple familiar names on the pylon here tonight, but both leagues kind of have a history of running these older original tracks like this Atlanta Motor Speedway, so both leagues have guys with a lot of experience on this track. Of course, you can always learn something new. You can always test and tune the setup a little bit here and there to make it just that itty-bitty bit better, but more of the same, a lot different. We saw a thrilling race then. I have the expectation that we'll see another thriller here tonight because this track just always puts on a great show. These guys going so quick down into turn 1, down into turn 3, and end of the day, Ricky, that's all we want. We just want a good race tonight.
Definitely, and I think we're going to get that here, Joe, and I think everyone watching at home on JTN is not going to be disappointed as we're watching them wrap up qualifying here. About 5 seconds left. Should be getting those lap times coming through here in just a moment.
See Barbara and Ann both in chat. Welcome in. Danny is racing. See that question? He's at least here. So do expect to see the 44 of Bino out there on track, but Ricky, qualifying has run to its conclusion. Happy hour now underway. Why don't you take us through tonight's starting lineup?
With pleasure, Joe. For tonight's race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, we will be having a field of 21 cars starting tonight from the 1.5 mile in the Atlanta. I don't know, I was going to make a name for it. I couldn't think of a good one. Yeah, so sitting on pole here tonight at a time of 28.279 seconds is going to be car number 113, piloted by Mr. Caleb Lingle. Joining him on the outside spot is going to be Steve Grant in the 11 car in the second position at a time of 28.329 seconds. From third spot, it's going to be the 31 car of Jeff Stickenis. From fourth, we'll have Keith McLean. Old Mac Daddy in the 28 will be rolling off in that fourth spot. Randy Smith in the 10 car will be starting from the fifth position. Starting in sixth is going to be the 4 car of Matthew Stern. Herman Reese in the 73 car will be starting from the 7th spot. Rick Castle in the 124 will be starting from the 8th position. The 9 of Fugate, naturally, going to be starting from spot number 9 tonight. Ryan Johnson in the 78 is going to round out the top 10 here this evening. In spot number 11 is going to be car number 11-2, which is going to be Eddie Rayleigh. In the 81 car is going to be Troy Donahue, who's going to roll off from the 12th position tonight. And in 13th is going to be the 14 machine of DJ Hinsky. Steve Urbino in the 07 car will be starting for the 14th position. From 15th spot is going to be the 94 car, Ken Hansen. And the last car to take a time in qualifying tonight, rest of the field picked on a random draw, is going to be Jim Loud in the 72 machine. Rounding out the rest of the field in spot number 17 is the 19 car of Rod Weston. 18th spot goes to the 5 car of Joe Peacher. 19th goes to the 27 of Frank Bombi. Dan Rubino in the 44 will be starting for the 20th spot. And spot number 21 goes to car number 24. Shotgun on the field. Old Mopar there starting in the back tonight. And that's going to be your starting lineup for tonight's race at Atlanta. Joe, a lot of high speeds here, a lot of drafting. I mean, compared to last week when you saw guys racing here, how do you think it's going to be different tonight? How much draft do you think is going to matter here?
Draft is going to matter. I think a decent amount. We saw it was hard to get away from each other in the race we saw last Thursday. And again, folks, we always have these frames of reference. We've done a couple of these races here with Hobo as well at this Atlanta Motor Speedway. The draft important. Not surprising to see a guy like Caleb Lingle at the front of the field to start this race in this number 113 Ford you see out there on your screens right now. Ricky, I think the draft's going to be important. You don't want to lose it. You want to stay with it. And I think that's where we'll start to see that separation as a run goes on. We'll kind of get our first grouping of cars, our second grouping, our third, and so on until we're kind of at a good, even distribution.
I do like when things are good and even, Joe. Else is good and even.
What's that?
This word from you.
Folks, again, make sure if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe. Again, doing so does help support us so much here on JTN. As always, we encourage you to be a friend. Tell a friend about our streams. When you go that extra mile and help share these, whether you're a driver out there on track or you're someone supporting someone out there, or you're just tuning in because you like what you see, sharing these streams does go a long way in helping support us here on JTN. It's how we continue to grow our viewership base and fan base. I hope you guys are fans of us at least. And again, it's always much appreciated when we see those links getting posted, whether you be a driver, a family, friend, or, you know, if you just stumbled upon us one day and decided to continue to watch us here on JTN. But again, can't thank you enough. It's a pleasure. I saw Ann say, nice to be back. It's a pleasure, as always, to have Hobo Racing on your computer, smart device, or cell phone, or smart device screen here on a Tuesday night, a Sunday night, a Thursday night when we're given that rare opportunity. It's always a pleasure to have the boys here at Hobo live with us on JTN, and as always, can't thank all the guys here enough. And a big thanks to Keith McLean for helping sponsor tonight's race. Thanks for that transition, Ricky. I really appreciated that because I needed to come up with something on the fly, and it kind of gets my juices flowing, you know?
Well, I figured that you usually have something.
Oh, you got
usually
to.
have something up your old sleeves. I see you rolling your sleeves up.
Especially working with you. You always have to have something ready.
Yeah, always have to have something ready. Joe, if you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
I feel like you've asked me this question before.
Okay, if you were a shrub, what kind of shrub would you be?
I'm not an expert in shrubbery.
If you were a shoe, what kind of shoe would you be?
A good one. I don't know. I like my pair of Vans that I have. I just got like some old school, I think, or like maybe that's not what they are. They're like new school, maybe. I'm not sure. I like my Vans.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. It's like happy hour is coming to its conclusion. We'll get ready to get the command and get cars lined up and fired up here to get racing tonight live again from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Get these cars up on pit road. These guys doubled on up.
Drivers, start your engines!
As we get the command and engines are fired here again, it's going to be Caleb Lingle on the pole in the number 113, Steve Grant to the outside. Row 2 has Jeff Stekenis and Keith McLean. Randy Smith and Matthew Stern make up row number 3. Row 4, of course, is the number 73 of Herman Reese and the 124 of Rick Castle. Rounding out your top 10 tonight, it's going to be Fugate in the number 9 and Ryan Johnson in the 78. Rest of your field will be shown on screen. Ricky, restart, start. No matter what it is here at Atlanta, it's always hard getting up through the gears.
Always hard getting up through the gears, Joe, but I think these guys will, these guys get rolling here, get that heat in the tires. I think this will get a little easier for them. So keep an eye out on the start, though, because I think they're going to be the one that throws them for the big loop. I should say start. Did I just say restart?
I said restart at the start, you know?
Start. I did.
I think I confused you on what kind of start.
I think this is going to be the one that throws them for the big loop, not knowing what that wheel spin's going to feel like until they do it for the first time.
Dodge Charger pace car going to come in. Caleb Lingle with control in front of a sold-out crowd here in Atlanta. His Ford going to lead us to the green. And we're underway in the HOBO Racing Cup Series from Atlanta. You'll get in single file here quick as we head down the back straightaway, Ricky. Some racing further on back. Herman Reese getting passed by Ryan Johnson, who makes the pass on the outside.
Yeah, it makes quick work of that, and they fall back in single file, but Ryan Johnson getting back to the inside of Rick Castle here. That's going to be in the 124 car. Johnson trying to go for that 8th spot here, see if he can leapfrog Castle. Actually, 7th spot, excuse me, right up ahead of him. Randy Smith really up the track. They were trying that high line right by the wall. Didn't really work. That lets Ryan Johnson get up another position. Now he's got to defend on Castle here to hang on to that 8th spot. There's a 7th spot, excuse me.
So Randy Smith already on the back foot, falling back in this top 10. See Steve Grant there holding on to second. Jeff Stekenis, Keith McLean, top 4 still staying stationary. Matt Stern up 1 spot into the 5th position. Rest of the field, though, getting single file.
But Ken Hansen fighting that 07 as Steve Rubino is back here for spot number 14. Rubino trying to hang on to the outside. Hansen's got the better line right there. He's going to get on by him. Speaking of Bino, we got Dan Rubino right to the inside of the 14. DJ Hinsky right behind that battle coming across the line. Second Bino brother getting on by that 14 car, making quick work of him here. Now Jim McLeod in that 72 starting to size up the 94 Hansen just a little bit.
Hansen actually just got by that 72, and he is setting sail, Ricky, as now Bino to the inside of Steve Rubino.
Yo, Ryan Johnson is moving here. He just dove into Matt Stern on the inside of the entrance of 3 and made the pass for 5th like that 4 car was standing still.
Ricky, I'm going to ask you this question. I'm probably going to ask you it a couple more times here tonight, but tire wear at Atlanta, always crucial. How much abuse is Ryan Johnson really putting to those Goodyears right now?
He's probably putting some pressure on that right front. And you got to think right now, Joe, they're probably not letting off a whole ton.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are we going to have to call TPS?
What do you mean?
Tire Protective Services?
Ah. That's like tire pressure sensor.
Yeah,
what's going to happen here, Joe? These guys are running wide open, but it still kind of is a handling thing because you don't want... When that right front wears out, the car's going to get tighter and tighter, and it's going to be hard to keep that momentum up in the turns because you're cranking the wheel more. There's more friction on the track between the pavement and the tires. So you don't want that car to get tighter and tighter. It's gonna, but everyone's gonna get tighter. But you don't want to make it worse. You don't want to exacerbate it. You see the 78 going on by the 31 Jeff Kennis. That's gonna be for the third spot. I guess no one's giving Ryan Johnson that memo. He's just making some hard moves here. Keep an eye on that B-Dubs car though, on the second half of this run, because that car, if the handling starts to go away, you know that he's burned out that right front by racing on it too hard early on here.
Pass is going to get more and more difficult here towards the front, but they haven't seemed to be too difficult so far for the 78, whether that be because of raw speed in that car or maybe a difference in opinion on how hard to push the issue right now. Or going to be in the balancing stage of that. You see Troy Donahue here in the 81 trying to apply some pressure to Fugate in the 9. Rayleigh there in the 112 right behind him.
Here comes a 78 to the inside of the 11. You see Ryan Johnson right there to the inside. And Joe, I think one other thing that does bear acknowledgement is the fact that open setup here at Hobo for this race. So these guys do have some options with making adjustments. But I will say that Johnson, if he's got a loose enough setup here, he might be able to mitigate that right front a little bit. If he's got that car looser than some of these other guys out here, that's going to definitely help him rotate the center better early on. And then when it tightens up, he'll probably still be looser than these guys. You know, the old adage, loose is fast. And here comes Ryan Johnson at the inside of Caleb Lingle. Lap 10 of 114. Here we got our first challenge for the lead. It's Johnson going to dive it in right here, turn 3. Clear that 113 like it's nothing. Ryan Johnson send sail here at Atlanta.
10th to 1st in the opening 10 laps for the 78 of Ryan Johnson. Putting down a blistering pace, but Lingle goes back on by.
On the high line, too.
Is that maybe Caleb Lingle saying, I see what you're doing with your tires. I'm going to go ahead and hit the run button. Kristen in chat says, loose is fast until you self-spin. Amen. Oh, we got one blowing up. It's Steve Grant. The 11th.
Oh, yeah, he's
car.
up on the wall. There's Matthew Stern, the 4.
Stern up into the outside wall. Steve Grant, though, has lost the motor on this Pontiac.
I'm not seeing any lights on that pace car, though, Joe. Keep an eye on it. Oh, the 14 to Hinsky's around in the trial here, and everyone goes for evasive maneuvers. Hinsky the only one around, but still no yellow, Joe.
We stay green as the 14 car still spins through the grass. And get this car back rolling, depending on how he gets back out on the racetrack. That'll determine if we do get that caution flag. See Ken Hansen and Troy Donahue.
He's spinning again here. I think he's fried those tires. We'll see if the lights come on the pace car. They do not. He's down on pit road. Field comes barreling by. Caleb Lingle still in first. Joe, I think what happened there, you might be able to tell us a little more on the replay, but I think that 14 spun trying to slow up for the car that was blowing up there, and the car just got really loose on him.
Ricky, the start to this race has been weird, hasn't it? The Kennis clips the apron there a little bit. That's going to allow McLean to get to the inside. Mac Daddy taking that third spot. Saw this 28 car strong. Always strong on a Thursday night. Ricky, did you let a dog in the booth?
Oh no, I got a dog going off.
Lane goes on by. Ryan Johnson up the track. He'll have to let Jeff Stakenis by, so now falls back into fourth. Again, about halfway through this fuel entire run. Herman Reese has scratched and clawed his way up onto the cusp of the top 5. Trying to find a way around Randy Smith in the 10. Keith McLean applying pressure to Caleb Lingle off of turn number 2. Now down to the outside, or inside rather. Down the back straightaway. And Keith McLean takes over the lead for the first time tonight here, working lap 18 of 114.
Now, Joe, I wonder if that, the 11, if that was a mechanical failure of some kind, or if that was taped too high. It says a clutch on the failure, but that can mean anything. It's the 28, and Keith McLean spins from the lead.
Hard to the outside wall goes McLean. Back down the racetrack, the 28 slides. No contact with anyone else, but the night has gotten horrendous for this 28. Heavy damage on the rear end of that race car, Ricky, and, I mean, he just lost it.
He just lost it, Joe. I watched that car just slowly rotate the rear end around. It was like you couldn't get back a hold of it, and realistic damage here tonight. That's definitely going to put Keith in a bit of a spot here as they try to get that 28 machine repaired. You can just see it. His car just steps out there in the middle of the line. As soon as it goes away, it just goes for a spin.
I'll go on board with them so folks at home kind of get a good look of what it's like to get loose behind one of these race cars. He's got one of our visor cams tonight.
Everyone taking that as a sign of, we might need tires.
Ugh.
Very unfortunate for Keith, though. Good, fast car, and not necessarily out of it, but he's going to have some... looks like they got him on and off pit road pretty quickly, but... What to see. Oh, the car's blowing up, Joe!
Keith is?
Yeah, 28 of Keith McLean is blowing up on the back straightaway. When it rains, it pours for this 28 team tonight.
Oh, man.
Keith McLean will bring it back down on pit road here. He's going to stay out there for a few.
Herman Reese wins the race off of pit lane. Barbara, I think Bino... Where's Bino running-ish right now? There's Steve. He's probably running about 10th or so. And Bino a couple spots further back.
Oh, and now... Looks like Herman Reese is Oh, Randy Smith's leading. He's going to come down. Rod Weston's going to stay out. Herman Reese is going to come in. I think Weston's going to stay out another lap here to get that lap led.
Mm-hmm.
Just to say that, get those points.
Folks, this
maximize those points.
gives us a good opportunity to remind you we got some more great racing action coming up for you here on JTN later on this week. Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series action heads to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Coverage kicking off at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the HOBO Racing Cup Series heads up to New Hampshire next week live on JTN. Same time, same place, right here on a Tuesday at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. And then Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series action on July 20th heads to the Pocono Raceway. Coverage kicking off at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Those races and much, much more, of course, going to be live right here only on JTN, presented by our friends at SchemeHaven.com.
Letting this all take it in, Joe, I guess. Letting these guys hear the track and the smells and sounds. I don't know how you hear smell, but you could transcend time and space and become omnipresent.
Sometimes we just kind of get lost in the cautions, you know? Ready to go back green this time by Caleb Lingle with control. Jeff Stekenis, Ryan Johnson, Ken Hansen, Jeff Fugate, your top five.
Joe, do you want to give us a boogity 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 when they hit the line?
No, because I'm not Darrell Waltrip. That's his thing.
Do you see any police, Joe?
Ricky, do you want to give him a boogity boogity boogity?
No, I asked you.
I ask you.
I asked you. Moment of truth, Joe. You going to disappoint your fans?
Caleb Lingle with control. Great flag. We're back underway here from Atlanta.
You coward.
You're a coward.
Coward. Oh, squirrely back here already. No one really making any moves on each other just yet. A lot of bumper banging there near the back. Everyone kind of like log jamming up. You see a big cluster back here.
Big what?
Cluster.
I thought you said fluster. I was like,
Cluster.
what is that?
I mean, I guess that kind of works, but... Caleb Lingle leads lap 25, 114 of tonight's event here. Lingle back up on point with Jeff Stekenis in that second spot. Ryan Johnson in third. Ken Hansen now up in that fourth spot. And Fugate up in fifth position. First challenge here, back here. Peter getting a challenge for the 19 of Rod Weston. Oh, Weston gets loose there coming off turn 2. Big twitch and just slid right in front of that 5 car. Now 10 of Randy Smith go dive to the inside of that 5.
Randy Smith giving up all the track position, was running inside the top 5, elected to stay out, lead a lap, but now all the way towards the back of the field here on this restart. Going to have a lot of ground to make up to get back to where he was running. Because the top 3 are underneath a blanket, Ricky.
Yeah, under a blanket. And just to finish this thought real quick, you're Randy Smith at 10. I mean, you got to think, like, we've broken the seal. We've already had a caution. We had a guy blow up. We had a guy spin out just on a too loose of a setup. So I think that has precedent that there's going to be more accidents at some point tonight. So I think it's not a bad play with the number of cars in this field. But like I said, the top 3 under a blanket right now is Jeff Stekenis has been slowly tracking in the back of that 113. A Lingle ran a faster lap last time by. Definitely had the nose underneath the 113 going into 1 there. We'll see what he does in 3 and 4. Going to stay in Lingle's tire tracks here. Follow him down to the bottom of the turn. You see the 78 of Ryan Johnson really kind of trying to do something different from that 31. Kind of take a different attack angle into that turn. A little further back, Jim Cloud, Matt Stern, side by side 72 in for the 72. Just barely keeps off the wall. Rod Weston to the inside of the 4, though. They're just about 3 wide going down the back straightaway here, Joe. This is for
Getting racy back here, huh? Cloud way off the track in the 72. Smith will get on by. Hinsky going to have a run here heading down his turn 1. Complete that pass. The 72 loses a couple more spots. Arambino looking to the inside of the 24 car. O'Para loses
pass pretty easily. Put Dan Rubino up into the top 10. So Steve Rubino, Dan Rubino, the two Rubinos running 9 and 10th right now. Oh, we got caution here, Joe. 72, 5, 19. Oh, the 4 of Stern backed into the wall here. Good amount of rear damage for Matt Stern in the 4 car.
Right in front of Rod Weston as well.
I think Weston did get a bit of it. That's why I called him out. Looks like the 4 just loses on exit, Joe. The rear end steps out about mid-corner, and you could just see the 4's trying to hang on to it, and the car just never recovers. Rod Weston, nowhere to go on that.
Good job by everyone to make sure this thing wasn't bigger than it had to be. But second caution of the night out here on lap 30 of 114.
That's Stern on pit road right now, getting that rear end pulled out. Not a whole ton of damage on that 4 car, Joe. I have to see. Look, that motor's still running.
Well, I didn't see too much damage on the 28, it felt like, but then he lost the motor, so.
Yeah, the 4's coming off pit road. That car looks pretty fixed up, Joe.
Fair enough.
I think Matt got a bit of a saving grace here. Everyone could come back down pit road, though. I don't think a single guy stays out this time for points.
Caleb Lingle able to win the race off pit road. Stekenis, Ken Hansen, Ryan Johnson, and Eddie Rayleigh are top 5. So Caleb Lingle looking strong here tonight so far, Ricky. He's the guy that we have pegged to at least always perform very well on these 1.5 miles, and tonight showing why.
Yeah, definitely shown his might here tonight. His might here a slight.
I don't know why you had to rhyme, because you already had tonight as a word.
Tonight might. Sure.
What are they? Folks, again, want to remind you, you can follow us on our social media at JoeTowNetwork on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. We're also live on our Twitch each and every week, twitch.tv/JoeTowNetwork. Simulcast over on Twitch. Simulcast. Ricky, it's a simulcast.
Simulcast.
Simulcast. Race car lights are out. We'll go back grade at next time by. Caleb Lingle will once again have control. Justin Kennis, Ken Hansen, your top 3. Ryan Johnson, Eddie Riley, Fugate, TJ Hensky, Rick Castle, Troy Donahue, and Steve Rubino, your top 10. We've erased 1 pit stop. We can go about 28 to 32 laps on a tank of fuel, so most likely just looking at 2 more pit stops here tonight. If this thing runs clean and green, we'll have to wait and see if that ends up being the case. Pace cars in, Lingle with control, green flag. We're back underway here from Atlanta. Sakanis with some issues on the restart, a little bit of wheel spin out of the 31, backs up Ken Hansen and the rest of the field. Lingle sets...
Oh, the 07, Joe. Steve Rubino had a big bobble. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
Herman Reese cuts him a break. Back up front, though, it's still Caleb Lingle with control in the 113.
Caleb Lingle seems like he's really good on this early run, and then just takes like a few laps for Kennis's car to really start to come to life.
Well, we saw this 113 good on the long run at the start of this race, too. Was able to snatch the lead back from Ryan Johnson when he was making his charge to the front of the field, Ricky. But how much does that dynamic, I mean, maybe in that early run, are you able to save a little more tire than you are now that everyone's kind of found their limit?
I think so. Oh, we're talking about that, though. Dan Rubino to the inside of 72. Jim Cloud. Rubino clears some. Cloud, I think, grabbed the wall just a little bit going through the tri-oval there, but no damage on the right side of that 72 Mustang, so I think he's good.
Tobito able to move up another spot. Dean in chat says you got to watch out for the 31. I would agree. Thinks Dekenis might be sneaky here at the end of this race. Just kind of sitting and waiting right now. They're in second place. Plus he's driving a Dodge and a little biased there.
Ken is trying to stay close with his 113 car. Right behind him, though, Ken Hansen's been keeping in touch with him. This 94 car has been a bit of a sleeper here tonight, Joe. Made his way up into the top 5 very quietly, and now is right here in this top 3, contending for position with a very fast car right now. Definitely got to keep... I think those flames are being put to good use tonight, because that car is blazing fast. Is that good?
It was.
Was that like a solid, like, 6 out of 10?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not looking for an Emmy here, Joe. I'm just looking for, like, oh, that's charming.
Ricky, you're always charming.
I'm not charming.
Oh.
Hey, you see these guys entering turn 3, though. Just, gets me all, like, gets me all, like...
Well, that's been the trouble spot,
scared.
right? 3 and 4, that's...
You just see that, you know, good old Atlanta, old-style Atlanta, the rear ends of these cars just step out so much at certain points of the turn. You're just like, how are these guys hanging on to it? But then, like, inside the car, you know this, Joe. You've raced on loose tracks before. You don't even realize how much the rear end's stepping out because, like, it's drivable. So you're just like, yeah, this works. And then you see it on camera later, and you're like, how am I stepping out that much in the rear end? I've talked about that, though. Jeff Stakanis gets to the inside of Lingle here. Come to the entry turn 1. I think Stakanis is going to have a preferred line here. We'll see if Lingle can get back to him. Lingle did do it the last time by, and here comes Caleb Lingle down to the bottom. Going to make that charge on the inside. That 113 is just good in every single line, Joe. We saw this earlier when Stakanis tried to challenge for the lead.
They're back side by side through turns 3 and 4. Lingle edging out in front once again in the 113. Though Stakanis able to keep the momentum on the outside. Lingle clears at the line, and a big crossover move there, Ricky. He lost the lead, didn't lose confidence in that car, was able to cut the wheel back to the left on corner exit, dove to the inside of the 31, and Caleb Lingle lost the lead for a second, gains it right back.
Rick Castle, the inside of Fugate, trying to take that 6th position while this whole fight's happening, though. Fugate looks like he's going to defend it for the moment. Things starting to settle down just a little bit, but you got to think that, that's making the 94, the 78, the 112, the 9, the 124. You got to think that's making all of them kind of lick their chops here now that they know that there's like there's a hole in the armor in the 113. Now, if you get there, get alongside it, you can't make that pass.
Yeah, but you got to make it stick. No one's been able to make it stick.
That's true, but I think I think you just got to get him at the right spot. If you cut off his line in a good spot, I think he can't get back to you.
That car slow on the apron was Matt Stern in the number 4. Again, we talked about was involved in that last incident that brought out our second caution of the night. Worried about some damage on that car. Wonder if something worse has happened.
Joe, looks like he was doing good, and then he drifted about lap 40. It looks like the car drifted sideways into the outside wall, flapped it pretty well, and I don't know if he's just limping it around or if it was definitely much slower after he hit that wall.
Mm-hmm. And that's to be expected. Yeah, the balance of your race car completely changes.
The 31, Jeff Stakanis starting to get close to this 113 again. They're both going to go a lane up the track, run that middle line, but Stakanis going to cut down to the bottom here. We'll see that helps him with Lingle. Nothing really changes here.
And Hansen starting to feel some pressure from Ryan Johnson in the 78. That car starting to light up the back bumper of the 94 through the corner. Here goes another charge from
Slips up
Stakanis.
the track a little bit. Joe, let's go. Let's Jeff Stakanis get to the inside of him here.
Lingle, though, able to pull the momentum, running that just a bit higher line, maybe half a car width up the racetrack. He's able to carry a little bit more momentum right now, Ricky. That's what's keeping this 113 ahead, and I think that's something to note throughout this race. The guy that's, guy that's making the pass, he's trying to cut as far down as possible, trying to get right up against that white line on the bottom of the racetrack. The guy trying to hold someone off, they're not afraid to give up that bottom, so that way they can utilize the momentum that a larger radius around the corner gives them.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this, Joe, the 9 of Fugate here starting to show his might here in the 112 machine. Rayleigh trying to get to the inside of him. Has made a few good runs, just can't get there just yet. The 124, though, Rick Castle starting to slip back just a hair into the grasp with Steve Rubino in the 07 car. So I think that 124 not as great on the long run here. Looks like he's losing some speed to these guys, but everyone's on top of each other right now. You see Ken Hansen, the 94, getting a challenge to the 78 of Ryan Johnson. Johnson's going to try to make that high line work. Doesn't necessarily work right in front of him. Stakanis gets to the inside of the 113. Could you get that nose to the inside? He's very close. Not going to make it happen this time. We'll see if he dives into one or if he follows Lingle.
And you saw that battle for the 5th spot. Fugate took it, made some contact with the 112 of Rayleigh through turns 3 and 4. As now Stakanis once again looks to the inside down the back straightaway and cannot get there just yet, Ricky.
Joe, and you can see it. Caleb Lingle's car is not holding the bottom anymore. That nose keeps slipping.
Oh,
up.
contact!
Gets into him. They both both go into the outside wall. The 94 is spun.
Top 4 wrecking here down the front straightaway. Fugate now around. Caution out for the 3rd time as the leaders wreck here at Atlanta.
Oh my goodness, Joe. Considerable front end damage for that 113 of Caleb Lingle. Oh, he has to be fuming.
I would be. Ricky, I don't know. I don't know how you'd be okay after that. That was, listen, before we start deep diving into this wreck, nothing intentional, right? Like,
oh, absolutely not.
Like,
absolutely
this is
not. You
this
definitely,
is
you know, as a driver, you definitely get frustrated.
yeah. But Stekenis, I think he was getting tired, right? Feels like he's faster.
I mean, what I was
made a
just
mistake.
about to talk about for that incident, Joe, is the 113 of Lingle didn't seem like that car was holding the bottom anymore. And I think what was saving him was that middle line was still fast enough that he could kind of use it to mask the fact that he couldn't hold that low line. But Stekenis kept getting his nose to the inside there. And I think if Stekenis, as soon as Stekenis got his nose completely to the inside there, he would have just gone right by the 113. So I think he might have got a little impatient, but because we hadn't seen him to the inside of the 113 that spot of the track yet.
On board with the 78 of Ryan Johnson here through the wreck. Buffalo Wild Wings on board. You'll see the contact between the 31 and 113 ahead. And the 113 might have come down even.
Maybe just a skosh, but he does. You can see it if you watch it from the helicopter view. You can see those right side tires stay right in the crease in the turn the entire time. If the 113 comes down a little bit, it's minimal, but the 31 of Stekenis absolutely gets tight and gets up into the 113.
Yep. Something racing deal.
I mean, yeah.
As our good friend Alex Gordon would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. It's like, how do you quantify that? Because I don't... Like, Stekenis didn't do anything wrong racing him there. Like, he had his nose... I guess it was just that they were close.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he wasn't anticipating his car getting that tight underneath the 113. Like, I don't want to sound like I don't want to make it sound like we're beating up on the 31 at all, because I was just like, I think it is fair to say that it's to some capacity or a racing deal.
Yes.
I just think like the physical fact that the 31 moves more than the 113 means that the 31 probably is at fault in the incident in like a rule book sense, but obviously no intent there. I'm sure Jeff feels very caught up about that. Well, we've seen it before. We've seen it in places like Atlanta, Texas. I don't know if we saw it at Darlington. I feel like I might have seen it before, but I might be remembering something wrong. But we've definitely seen it before at these mile and a halves, Joe. Someone gets in a spot just at the wrong time on exit, and that car gets really tight, and then two guys get together. We see it almost every time we come to Atlanta or Texas or any of those larger, any of those more banky mile and a halves, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this race just got turned on its head again, Ricky. Fastest car now with heavy damage on the front end. Second fastest car now stuck back in traffic and most likely with some damage. Got someone out front who hasn't led yet tonight, Eddie Rayleigh, because he has a good car, able to get through that wreck, did a good job of it. Ryan Johnson, who we know is quick on the short run, but maybe lacks the long run speed or the patience with the tires early on. Bugate there in the 9 has been up there inside the top 5. Herman Reese, always a threat on these high tire wear tracks. And Steve Rubino right now rounding out your top 5 as we get ready to come back to the green flag, this time by 56 of 114. Just under 60 laps to go here. one more pit stop to get us to the end of this race, most likely, in the cards. Really with control here for the restart, coming to lap 56 of 114. Green flag, we're back underway, and Ryan Johnson makes the pass for the lead. Something's wrong with the 112.
He's not getting up to song here just yet.
Is he maybe down a gear?
I don't know. You might just miss that start. Our car didn't look like it was up to full song on the start. Maybe he started in the wrong gear, but Ryan Johnson gets on by him quickly. Fugate in the 9, now a factor for the lead here as he tries chasing down the 78 of Johnson. Herman Reese now in the top 5. Steve Rubino in the top 5. Joe, we got a lot of new players up the front here.
It was
The 72 almost spins it, and they all go into the grass to get around him. How did they hang on to that, Joe?
I don't know, Ricky. Let's get a replay because that sounds exhilarating.
Jim Blau that car got sideways. You can even see him lock it down a little bit there when he gets sideways. Everyone does a phenomenal job getting on by him without creating an incident. Hats off to everyone on great wreck avoidance there.
I'm not wearing a hat.
Hey, Steve Rubino to the inside of Herman Reese as we're talking, though, makes that spot for 4th. So put that old 7 car, Steve Rubino, that HOBO Racing Ford, up to the 4th spot. And as we're talking, Fugate is now putting a challenge on Ryan Johnson. Guys, note to the inside of the 78 of Ryan Johnson. That Sun Drop Machine's going for the lead, Joe. Put Fugate up to the point here, coming off of turn 4 to take lap number 59.
Fugate to the lead for the first time tonight in that Sun Drop Dodge. Ryan Johnson going to try to charge back on him here down into turn 1. Not able to get anything going that time at the line. Or into the corner
here in the 112 looks like he's come back. So I think that car just misstep. I think that was a misstep on the restart, Joe. But as we're talking, Ryan Johnson back to the inside. The 9 completely clears him going down the back straightaway. Great run for the 78 of Johnson. We'll see if Fugate can get him back. But I think we got a little bit of a back and forth here, Joe.
A back and forth?
Yeah, a little
forward
bit of a
and
back and forth brewing. I think the 9's pretty fast. I think the 78 just got a good draft on him, dove to the inside, and took off with it. But as we're talking, Rayleigh's looking, sizing up the 9 just a hair, but he doesn't have the distance on Fugate to make it work.
Steve Rubino applying some pressure to Eddie Rayleigh in the 112. That car gets loose off of turn number 4. Rubino, though, not able to capitalize on it that time down the front straightaway. But Steve Rubino having a strong night here tonight. Big dive to the inside. Trying to, again, talked about it. You got to hunt that white line to get around the car in front of you. Rubino trying to do that to find a way around the 112.
Gotta hunt that inside line, but you gotta make sure you don't spin out. We keep seeing guys doing that, so you gotta be careful about it. But Steve Rubino really looked to the inside of that 112. You can tell he's trying to get that left side fender out in the clean air. Just get a little bit of downforce.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit of downforce on the nose of that Fusion. See if that helps him along with this 112. But he's right there with him. They're actually starting to stack up a little bit behind Fugate, who's starting to close back in on Ryan Johnson. It seems like they kind of accordion here up front, Joe. One person would be way out ahead, and then all of a sudden they all like squeeze back up together for a few laps, and they stretch back out, and they squeeze back up. Or squish. I guess squish is a better word for it. Ryan Johnson, though, hanging on to this lead. Fugate in the 2nd spot. Rayleigh in the 112 in the 3rd position. Steve Rubino's trying to make a charge for that 3rd spot in the 4th position. Rick Castle in spot number 5 and car number 124. We'll see how he does on this run. Seems like that car's not as great on long runs, but showing speed right now, that 124 machine. Right behind him, we got the 73 of Herman Reese having a very consistent night here in that 6th spot. He's been kind of hovering right outside the top 5 all night. 10 car of Randy Smith, though, early on, got caught in that outside wall. A lot of troubles with his 10 car early on. Looks like he's finally gotten back in step with these guys after, being up front there, too, and then pitting and kind of going off cycle with these guys.
Oh, boy.
What are you up, boy, Joe?
Ricky, there's a lot going on in this race.
There's a lot going on in this race.
I do have a lot going on. See Rubino to the inside. Not able to get anything going that time. Further on back, Hinsky to the inside of Donahue for a spot. 14 car will go on by. Stakenis now trying to get by the 81. It looks like there's too much damage on that car, so see if Jeff can get back to the front of the field before this race is up. Might need some assistance in doing that. Herman Reese now to the inside of Rick Castle for the 5th spot.
I think Herman heard me talk about him having a consistent night. Definitely put on the afterburners here to leapfrog up to that 4th spot. Or 5th spot, excuse me.
Randy Smith also goes by the 124.
You see this 07, he gets close at 112 and just can't make the pass. I think that's what he's waiting for. I think Rubino's waiting to see if this car in front of him loses those tires a little more over this run. Because he needs a fragment of something. He is running near identical lap times with Rayleigh and just can't seem to get an edge. Oh, 19 Rod Weston is around in the trial wall, and we're going to be under caution here again, Joe.
Caution for the 4th time here tonight as Weston's around on the front straightaway. And Ricky, this puts us in a precarious spot.
Precarious.
We're still going to need to make one more pit stop, even if we pit here.
There's something happened with Rod Weston here, Joe. Came off of 4, and that car was just very loose. Wasn't really up to speed either.
It
just stepped out on him.
And just where it's kind of unloading there on exit. Feature was going on by. Officials through the caution.
You thinking right outside that fuel window, Joe?
We go about 32. That's max. So not right outside the window, but you probably would have liked to at least run 10 more laps here before you made this pit stop. But you have to think with the tire wear that we've seen here tonight, everyone going to come down, take 4 fresh Goodyears, fill it up with Sunoco Racing fuel, and maybe make that last stop a shorter one. Should be going back green with roughly 40 to go. Ryan Johnson wins the race off pit road. Herman Reese second. Rick Castle, Jeff Fugate, Randy Smith, Jeff Stakenis, Steve Rubino, and Eddie Rayleigh, though, both big losers on the pit lane, Ricky. They fall all the way outside of the top 10. Or to the back half of the top 10, rather. Caleb Lingle's back in front of the field in the 113. If Caleb elects to come down pit road. Gain out so far. Maybe just moves to gain track position. We talked about it. You only need one more pit stop from where we were under with that caution before when we made our last stop before this one. Everyone back in that one-stop window to the end of this race. Or still in it, rather. Going back green if lights go out this time with 42 laps to go. Lingle comes down pit lane. We talked about heavy damage to the motor of that car. You can see the front end bent on it. Just looks weird, doesn't it, Ricky?
A little weird, but he's having fun.
He's having fun? I think he's just points racing. As you stirred, we'll get the lucky dog. Alright, you ready? You ready for this restart, Ricky? You gonna bring him
I'm
back?
ready, Joe. Are you ready?
I'm ready. You want to bring him back?
Boogie from you this time?
No, I was gonna ask you.
No, I asked you first, so you gotta do it.
Nope.
That's the rule, Joe. Are you gonna cower out twice on me?
Steve says man alive. I don't...
Which man is alive?
I'm confused.
I'd rather he be alive. Man of dead isn't as fun.
Ryan Johnson with control here for the restart. Let's get back to boogieing here at Atlanta. Green flag back out. Ricky, that wasn't satisfactory for you, was it?
Did you not boogity?
I didn't.
How dare you? Guys running single file here down the back straightaway, starting to get things in order. You see Ken Hansen get to the inside of the 24 of Mopar, that 94, trying to make up some spots here in spot number 10.
Steve Romano back to the inside of Troy Donahue for a spot. Gets that. Gonna get by Mopar as well down into turn 3. Ken Rubino is running up inside the top 5. Had a bad pit stop. Ken Hansen, next car in line in the 94. Hansen might have some damage from that earlier incident as well. Ryan Johnson trying to pull away from the rest of the field as Herman Reese sits in second and is kind of holding these cars behind him right now.
Ryan Johnson hanging on to this lead at the moment. Herman Reese in second, though. You see Fugate, Rick Castle side by side. Fugate makes that pass on Castle for the third spot. Going to start to set his sights on the 73 car, Herman Reese.
The top 5 have pulled away from the rest of the field.
Fugate really put down a blazer of a lap last time by 28.663, his fastest of the night. Everyone else around him was running 28.8 or 28.7, so that draft's definitely pulling that 9 along, but Fugate's got something under that Dodge.
He's got a Hemi.
Yeah, that heavy.
Herman Reese loose there off the corner. You saw that car step out. Fugate going to have a chance to dive to the inside here down into turns 1 and 2. He'll make the pass. Castle also going to go for it. And the 124 moves up into third. Stekenis not able to take advantage. He'll stay in 5th. Herman Reese slots back in 4th. Ryan Johnson, though, out in front of the field in the 78. Running his own pace right now. A quicker rate than some of those cars behind him.
Had a car roundup here. He has a 14 to DJ Hinsky. Looks like he run around off 2 and just went for a single car spin. Didn't bring out a yellow.
There's that car slow. Leader's going to rocket on by.
I mean, Ryan Johnson, a little bit of a bobble there from the lead. Off 2, his car just got a little squirrely there. See if Fugate puts up a good lap time here this time by. Yeah, trimmed a 10th off there. 29.274 versus 29.147 for Fugate. Trimmed it down by a whole 10th, that differential. So Fugate started to track down Ryan Johnson. I think the question is, does he have enough to get to him, and does that car hold out in the remainder of the long run here? And do we get a caution before the end of this? Because otherwise, he does have to make one more stop, Joe.
Everyone going to have to make one more stop here before the end of this race. And how, like you said, how much you press the issue when you make that stop, because everyone's kind of in a position, Ricky, where they can short pit if they want. They can either split this in half. They can go the distance on fuel. There are some strategy options at play here that these drivers could maybe use to their advantage, especially here at the front of the field, to try to gain a leg up on the competition. Rick Castle able to hold on to the 3rd spot. Saw Herman Reese giving him a challenge there down the back that time. That 73 looks to be a little bit quicker as the 124 is starting to lag behind our top 2. Ryan Johnson now, I mean, looks like the best car in town. We talked about Caleb Lingle having his issues. Ryan Johnson, though, started off this race, went from 10th to 1st in the opening 10 laps. Is now Herman Reese to the inside of Castle for the 3rd spot. Get help from Jeff Stekenis in the 31. Stekenis moves through for 4th.
Randy Smith getting to the inside the 124 here. Rick Castle going to try and make that pass for the 5th position. Oh, they get together 10 in the 124.
Castle hard into the outside wall. You saw that car just shoot up the racetrack. No caution.
There was another instance of those cars getting tight, running side by side, Joe.
Ricky, we're in our window to make it to the end of this race. From here on out, you can pit, make it to the end, but I have a feeling a lot of these drivers are going to wait a little bit to try to get some of that feel good on those tires a little bit later in this race.
There he wants to count us to the inside of the 73 of Herman Reese. That 31 car is fast, Joe.
I talked about it. He was challenging Caleb Lingle when that incident that took the 113 out of contention occurred. Also, the 9 and 31, we know they work very well together. They work with one another. That's teammates.
Yeah, 78 Ryan Johnson can't hold that bottom anymore. Compared to these guys right behind him. Fugate going to try to make that run, but here comes the 31. Jeff Stekenis going to clear the 9 car. Now he's going to challenge the 78 for the position.
Jeff Stekenis has gone from the back to the second place position.
Oh, he gets loose there. I'm going to check out for that 78, Joe.
Gets to the inside here down the French straightaway. Talked about him getting back to second. Well, he goes to the lead for the first time tonight, or second time tonight, rather, but looks like it'll be the first time he's able to hold on to it. Stekenis to the point. Fugate looking for second.
Definitely a Mopar show right now, Joe. 2 Dodges leading this field. 2 old Dodge Chargers.
Got car around on the front straightaway. It's the 14. He hits the inside wall. No caution.
Parked it right behind the pace car. And he's parked it.
He's like, what, you're not going to throw a caution for me this time either? Dan Rubino right now in 7th. Steve Rubino in 8th. You see them racing with each other there. But back up front, Jeff Stekenis has pulled away with the lead in that Steak and Shake Dodge. Herman Reese now to the inside of Jeff Fugate for second. Ryan Johnson now to the inside of the 9 for third. And Fugate gonna duck right in front of the 10 of Randy Smith.
Look at that 9 get to the inside of that 78 car. That was slicing and dicing to the max, Joe. And here comes Randy Smith, the inside of the 9. Can he make that pass? Fugate, that 9 car is starting to drop back at the end of this run.
While that battle's going on, Ken Hansen closing in. You saw that 9 get really loose as he tried to change lanes there through the center of the corner. Hansen goes on by the 9, and he'll move up inside the top 5. Randy Smith, our Fontana winner from earlier this year, now to the inside of Ryan Johnson for third. And he'll complete the pass there, so move that Pontiac up onto the podium. A Dodge, a Cadillac, and a Pontiac. Your top 3.
What year is it, Joe? Fugate coming down pit road. Going to tag out earliest of all of these guys to come get those tires, and I think maybe you can get some speed here. Not a lot of time left in this. Do you think they're getting 4 tires here, Joe?
I would. With the fall off we've seen. I mean, what are they running right now for lap times?
30s.
It's about 2 seconds of fall off.
Yeah, Rick Castle coming down too. He's gonna get those 4 tires. Castle's car's not moving though.
I mean, maybe you take 2 because it's gonna save you a lot of time.
Yeah, but how much does it upset the handling on that car? You know how loose these cars are out here right now. That's
a question for these drivers. It ain't a question for me. I didn't make the setups. I mean, but not to be a smart aleck about it. It really is going to depend on the driver. It's also going to depend on if they do make those adjustments, right? There's some guys out here that are maybe a little more familiar with doing something like that in the late stages of this race. They'll know what to do they'll know how to adjust the car to make it work here at the end of this race. As Herman Reese, we're watching him trying to slowly reel in Jeff Stekenis in the 31. If I'm Stekenis, Ricky, I would want to pit before the 73 gets to me. I want to at least have the advantage, whatever that advantage may be. And, yeah, I'm Stekenis right now. I'm trying to make sure I get to pit lane before the 73 car. I'm going to take that risk of a caution coming out because it's already, I feel like, you're playing with house money after the incident earlier. Relegated him all the way to the back of the field, and he's been able to charge back up to the front.
112 coming down, 24 coming down, so that's from 6th and 7th, Joe.
Fugate has also pit in the number 9. As here comes Herman Reese down pit lane. So we watch the 73 and 94 of Ken Hansen also down pit road. We watch the 73 to see what he does on his pit stop. Does he take 2? Does he take 4? And 4 tires might be the best way to give yourself speed here at the end of this race, but it might not save you time. Herman Reese is in. Ricky, this is where you're supposed to make the air gun noises. 4 tires.
I don't know why there's so many lug nuts, but they're taking the wheels off a semi-truck, Joe.
4 tires on the 73. Stekenis and Randy Smith now both in. Let's watch Stekenis see what they elect to do on the 31. Right side's going on. 94 Ken Hansen only took 2 tires. Okay, 4 tires for Stekenis. 4 tires for Randy Smith. Comes Fugate in the number 9.
Where Fugate came on, we'll see where he gets off here. He's got a lot of speed, Joe. Ken's trying to get up to speed. Fugate goes on by Stekenis.
And Herman Reese also going to be able to get by the 31 as Ryan Johnson, though, is working to his inside. He'll make that pass. Ryan Johnson now going to get right on the back bumper of Jeff Stekenis through turn 4. Stekenis now up and out of the way. Johnson with all the momentum, but I think that really is going to plague the 78 here as he tries to make the pass. Troy Donahue, currently your race leader. Caleb Lingle there in second. Fugate scored in third.
Yeah, they're not even at the lead yet, Joe, but I think Fugate kind of doing what... It was on my mind there, honestly, was that who was going to short pit, 'cause I figured short pitting would be more beneficial. Donahue looks like he is very slow out there, like he is trying to save it.
Yeah. It's got about a 25-second lead.
Oh,
back
he's in the wall, Joe.
The car's on with new fuel and tires. Here comes Caleb Lingle, though, in the 113. He's staying out right now. Donahue going to come down pit lane this time by. Enters the apron in turn 3.
We're talking about this Fugate. Got about, I don't know, maybe like a second lead on 78 of Ryan Johnson, but they're there
That's
together.
going away.
Maybe less than a second, maybe like 7/10 of a second lead on 78 Johnson. Johnson's right there. I think the question is, can Fugate hold him off long enough? Do the 81 come down on pit road? Ryan Johnson get to the inside the 9 though, so that's going to be a big old NO as Ryan Johnson goes sailing on by the 9. 31 Justin Kenneth going to go with him. We'll see if Herman Reese tries to follow with. '31's right in the back bumper. The 78, Joe, they almost make contact there. They might have a little bit.
Might have been a little bit of a bump, but Stekenis to the inside, looking for what we think will be the lead. Ryan Johnson on the outside, 78 up the hill off of turn number 2. Move Jeff Stekenis back to the point here at Atlanta.
11 laps to go. Jeff Stekenis back to the lead, but can Ryan Johnson get back to him here, Joe? Both these cars been fast all night. Stekenis going to try to sail away here, though, as he hits the line for 10 laps to go to Atlanta.
Because Herman Reese, I think...
we're under caution.
I think Herman Reese might have went around.
Oh, yeah, Reese is down on pit road. The car's blown up, Joe.
The caution was for that car blowing up.
Yeah, it looks like he blew up and just went out into the outside wall. That puts an interesting little wrinkle, Joe. Everyone can make it.
I don't think you can pit and give up track position if you're in the top 5. I know tires are a premium, but...
You're not wrong, but what would good tires get you? I mean, they've been out there for a couple laps running hard on that rubber, and we already saw how much the 9 of Fugate kind of lost to these leaders just being out there a few laps longer. I think you'd want to pit, honestly. I think the call's to pit.
Well, let's
Call
see.
these guys bluff. We'll see who stays out. But I frankly think come down and get those tires. They want Kennis going to stay out.
Oh.
Ooh, we'll see. We'll see. But I think I'm locking in on this, Joe. I'm not Larry Mack. I can't make my pick of the race, but I will lock in my opinion that I think taking tires is going to be the right call here. How many tires? I don't know. You can take your own guess on that. Come to your own conclusion. But I think if you got any kind of grip advantage out there as opposed to the guys that are out there.
I feel like if you're coming down, you got to take 4. Ryan Johnson will win the race off pit road.
Ken Hansen jumps a bunch of positions on these guys. Gets past a 9, past the 07, the 112, or the 112.
So who's out there right now, Ricky, is on the lead lap. The 31 is Kennis, obviously our race leader. Randy Smith in the 10. So only 2 lead lap cars here, it would appear. No, Caleb Lingle's still on the lead lap in the 113. So Stekenis will have control for this restart, and that's about all he's got of an advantage, Ricky.
Joe, this is gonna get a little sticky.
He's not going to have a buffer. Like, Randy Smith is the only buffer car.
Oh,
Back to new
Lingle
tires.
too.
Oh, okay, so he's got 2 cars.
I mean, it's gonna be tough. It
One
all
of the
depends on
cars-
how many laps we get to go here.
One of the cars has no love lost for him, right? Like, I'm Caleb Lingle. I'm going to let the 78 on by. Go get the 31.
I mean,
am I stirring the drama?
disagree, Joe,
Ricky-
but the problem is that these guys are out here for points.
I know.
Andy
Am
Smith,
I stirring the
Caleb
drama?
Lingle, they definitely want points here. They don't want to just let these guys on by and then settle for a lower finish, maybe an outside the top 10 finish possibly, or wherever they end up. They want points. They're going to defend their position because they
Ricky-
want to maximize where they finish.
Ricky,
Even if they can't win a second, I'd say on this gamble would be pretty good.
Ricky, am I stirring the pot? Hell yes, I am.
I don't think you're stirring the pot.
Oh, you gotta stir the pot. Let's stir it.
Oh, this pot is so heavy. Through all of this soup Joe has created. This drama soup.
Drama soup.
One lap to green here. Going to be going on lap 109 and 114. So 6 laps to go. Can Justin Kennis hold out is going to be the big question.
Oh, I'm waiting and seeing. Jeff Stekenis with control for the restart with 6 laps to go. Randy Smith, Caleb Lingle also out there on old tires. First one on 4 is Ryan Johnson in 4th. We saw him go from 10th to the lead in 10 laps to open the race. He's only got to make up 4 spots to do it here in just 6 laps. Stekenis with control. Green flag, he's spinning.
He goes around Joe.
Disaster strikes the 31 of Jeff Stekenis. Randy Smith, your new race leader, and Ryan Johnson trying to go to the front.
Green.
Ryan Johnson now gets to the inside of Randy Smith for the lead. Going to be a drag race here down the back straightaway. Where does Ken Hansen go?
There's blood in the water right now, and Ryan Johnson wants this lead. Ken Hansen goes to the inside of the 10 car. Randy Smith. Hansen's got a good run on the 78 of Johnson, though. He's right there with him as they come across the line for lap 110. 5 laps to go here. This whole race has been blown wide open, Joe.
Side by side for the 5th spot right now. Steve Rubino is working to the outside of Caleb Lingle. Now works to the inside here down the back straightaway in the 07. Rubino up to 5th.
That 9 of Fugate is right on the back bumper of the 94. I think that car's faster. I think he just needs a way of getting around Hansen here quick. Fugate looking to the outside. Try to cut back down the inside on the 94 here.
Talked about it, generating momentum through these corners. That's the key. But right now, Ryan Johnson loves what he's seen in his mirror because the 9 car is applying all kinds of pressure to the back of the 94. And that's allowing the 78 car to try to squeak away.
It is, as you come across the line, 112, 114, 3 laps to go here. Can Ryan Johnson hang on to this? Ken Hansen definitely ran a faster lap last time by, getting pushed from that 9 car. 94 car oversteps the turn, though. That's going to let the 9 of Fugate get to the inside. Fugate can't make anything with it because Hansen's got so much speed with that draft.
Hansen doing a good job, too, if he comes up off the bottom like he does there on exit of turn number 4. Able to really keep it in the momentum. Doesn't get worried about that car taking off towards the outside wall. 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go. Has it down to 0.18 seconds. Ken Hansen does. That car is actually pulling in the 78 of Ryan Johnson here. Joe, I actually think if this 9 works with them, they might be able to kind of out-muscle this 78 just on draft alone.
Steve Rubino looking for 4th further on back, getting to the inside of Randy Smith through turns 3 and 4. Help from Dan Rubino in the 44, though. This time at the line, white flag will be in the air. 1 lap to go.
Fugate trying to get to the inside of the 94. Can't get there. Hansen has to give him the lane. That's going to put Fugate up to that 2nd spot. I don't know if Fugate's got enough time to catch him, Joe. He's really got to throw it in deep here on the turn.
Ken Hansen really loose there off of turn number 2. Allows Fugate to go on by. But Ryan Johnson just needs to make it through turns 3 and 4 off of that final corner. It's going to be the 78 Buffalo Wild Wings Chevrolet. Ryan Johnson, he'll take home the checkered flag here in Atlanta. Jeff Fugate in 2nd. Ken Hansen 3rd. Steve Rubino, Dan Rubino, your top 5.
Dan Rubino at the absolute 11th hour there cracks that top 5 as he crosses the line for the checkered flag. Both Rubinos in the top 5. Great run tonight for both of them.
But Ryan Johnson, who started 10th in the field, went to the lead in 10 laps, is able to claim the victory here tonight in Atlanta.
Accelerate down in turn 1 there. They do a little bit of a backwards lap here just through the tri-oval for the fans. Ryan Johnson celebrating here at Atlanta. Oh, Joe, it wouldn't be an Atlanta race if it wasn't wildly unpredictable.
we said it was
we were dead set that Stakanis was going to have it.
Listen.
Or it was going to be a fight there. I did not expect... We had talked about at the start of the show, too. I don't know if you remember that. I was like, keep it out on the start, because I think that's where you're going to see all the wheels spin, and naturally, we don't see it until the absolute last restart.
It's funny how those things come up. But Ryan Johnson, your race winner here tonight. We'll get to talk with him. We'll talk with Fugate. We'll talk with Ken Hansen. We'll talk with our podium finishers here tonight. Again, folks, as always, can't thank you enough for tuning into JTN tonight. Make sure, if you haven't already, drop a like on the video and subscribe. We're also going to be live the next 2 weeks here on Tuesday nights with the HOBO Racing Cup Series next week from New Hampshire, the following week from Pocono. You're not going to want to miss those races as well. So, again, you got to make sure you're subscribed to us right here on JTN. Results incoming. But before that, let's get a word with our friends from AutoSim 2. Have you ever wanted to manage your own racing team? Or what if you could go back in time to see if a particular season could have finished differently? Well, folks, have no fear because AutoSim 2 is here. With fully customizable roster files, you can create your own world or try to recreate the past. Heck, you could even try to predict the future through AutoSim 2's Sim mode. Don't like the passive approach? Well, then get more hands-on in owner mode, where you decide who drives your cars and what companies will sponsor them. Down on your luck? Well, then scout some new talent that will get you to the top. Already super successful? Try moving up the ladder or expanding to truly solidify your racing empire. However you want to play, AutoSim 2 has you covered and is now available for purchase through the Steam store for $9.99. Now go make your mark and build your legacy in AutoSim 2. And again, folks, AutoSim 2 is now available on Steam for $9.99. We'd appreciate it if you went and checked it out. Again, AutoSim 2 now available on Steam for $9.99. Let's go ahead and start down in victory lane with the driver of the number 78, Ryan Johnson. Ryan, you got a copy?
I do.
Boy, howdy. You had a fast car tonight. Take us through, first off, the fact that you went to the lead in the opening 10 laps, but second off, how you were able to just have such good short run speed there at the start of the race and then manage to get some of that long run speed as the race went on.
Yeah, I just kind of worked at it at that first run. I just wanted to get up there and lead a lap. I don't lead that much here at Hobo, so I thought, well, I'll burn them up and get up there and get that out of the way because I am points racing. Definitely, like you called it out, had a good short run car the first 10 to 15 laps. It was pretty solid. Then it'd fall off. So these guys were a little bit better at saving their tires than I was. And, I probably wouldn't have got the win. We had a lot of the top dogs here at Hobo get knocked out of the race for whatever reasons, blown engines, crashes. So, but hey, I was able to stay out of trouble, came close a few times, and brought it home first.
With this race being unpredictable like it was, you mentioned it there, a lot of the guys that, started up towards the front of the field having their issues. How much was the track position a non-factor then tonight where you started? Because starting 10th, a lot of times it's hard to make it up to the front of these fields and these races. They're not the longest in the world. They're also not the shortest by any means. But with those guys having issues, did that make your starting track position deficit a little bit easier to stomach?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty good on the starts, too. I kind of pride myself on cold tires, so I know I can gain a few. I'm not always the best qualifier, but yeah, as the race went on, it was nice to be close towards the front and caught a break there at the end. I think if Jeff Stakanis would have pitted with us, he probably would have been the winner. I might have had something for him, but I don't know.
When you all of a sudden saw him taking off towards the grass there on the front straightaway, was it oh crap moment there on that restart, or did you just kind of keep focused?
Yeah, a little bit. Thought, I figured he'd hold it down there, wasn't going to come back across, but yeah, wasn't expecting it from someone like Jeff. I knew we were on cold tires, a little bit worn tires as well. But yeah, really surprised to see that, but hey, it happens.
Well, it happens, and Ryan, a win here for you tonight. Again, congratulations on that. Before we let you go, I want to give you the opportunity. Got a lot of great partners, got a lot of great folks cheering you on. The floor is yours. You know what to do.
All right. Just want to give a shout out to everyone at HOBO Racing, the Rubinos, and all the other admins for putting this stuff on. Keith McLean for putting together the sponsorship tonight to get this televised by you all. And yeah, just a fun night and enjoy this stuff.
Well, Ryan, again, congratulations on the win here tonight. As always, a pleasure talking with you. Cannot thank you enough for your time, and good luck next week at New Hampshire.
All right. Thank you.
Ryan Johnson, driver the number 78, your race winner here tonight from Atlanta. Let's go ahead and next bring in our second place finisher. He's the driver of the number 9, started 9th, believe it or not, raced all the way up to second. Jeff Fugate. Jeff, you got a copy?
Hey, I'm here.
All right, second place run here tonight. First question, I gotta ask you: did you get to crack open a nice cold sun drop there after climbing out of the race car? That's the first question. But second question: how'd you manage to make your way up through this field after starting at a track position deficit at the start of this thing?
Well, the sun drop's still in the cooler.
Okay.
I'll get one of those shortly. Yeah, it just kind of paced myself. I wasn't really pushing too hard. Did one time there just a lead lap and just settled back in. But tire management here is so critical.
We saw, some of the guys that we saw starting up towards the front of the field have their issues. Caleb and Jeff obviously got together there around halfway in this race. When you see stuff like that happen, does it change your outlook on the race? I mean, not that you and this 9 team were at a lack of speed, but it felt like those guys were kind of the class of the field tonight.
No, yeah, I mean, if you watch the replay, I'm right in the middle of that doing donuts through the grass, trying to miss everybody. And I got through it. I just burnt some tires up, but that's it. I didn't get no damage, so that worked out for me. But yeah, this track will bite you real quick if corner entry exit a little too high, let off too quick, too soon. I mean, there's so many things that'll get you here, especially with the tires getting hot, and you got to watch them tire temps. But it's just you got to race the track, but it's hard because you get the field takes off, and then they want to run Q laps basically in the race, and it's like, how can you manage tires if you're gonna keep up with everybody and not get run over? So it's kind of a balancing act.
Is that why this track is so much fun? Because you have to kind of do that balancing act, and you're always kind of racing, even if you're out there maybe by yourself or riding around?
Yeah, I think so. It is a lot of fun. I mean, because it's pretty slick, so you have to drive it. I mean, you can run some hard laps, get up there and run for a little bit, but then you got to cool them tires, or you're going to pay for it. That's the thing. So it makes it tricky and exciting.
Well, Jeff, a great run for you here tonight. Second place finish. Before we let you go, though, I want to give you the opportunity. Got a lot of great partners on this 9 team. Of course, got a lot of great folks cheering you on and rooting you on. The floor is yours. You know what to do.
Yeah, just thank Steve for the league and all this work he puts in, and Bino and Keith and a bunch of guys sponsoring the race this time, and Keith Herman and Jeff teammates working together, keeping these things going. It's sometimes we all finish and sometimes we don't, but that's part of it.
Well, Jeff, again, congratulations on the second place run here tonight. It's always a pleasure getting to talk with you. Can't thank you enough for your time, and good luck next week at New Hampshire.
All right, thanks a lot, and thanks for doing a good job.
Appreciate it. Jeff Fugate, driver of the number 9, your second place finisher here tonight from Atlanta. Let's go ahead and finally bring in our third place finisher. He's the driver of the number 94 Ford, Ken Hansen. Ken, you got a copy?
I got you guys.
All right, buddy. Third place finish. You started 15th on the night. I asked the first 2 guys the same question. This is a good night for me. I can repurpose my questions for all the interviews. How'd you manage to take a track position deficit at the start of this race and turn it into an advantage at the end of it?
A lot of luck, holding on to it, and saving tires. And some good pit stops.
I was going to say, a few good pit stops in there. You gained a lot of track position on pit lane. What kind of, is there, you giving your pit crew guys anything down there? Or,
I told them they get extra cores.
Okay.
If they get good pit stops.
Okay. Fair enough. But how challenging or how much fun is this racetrack, or is it kind of a balance of both? With the high tire wear, we saw a lot of really close side-by-side racing, sometimes a little too close for comfort. But how much fun is that behind the wheel?
Oh, this is my favorite track by far. I always liked this track. So, yeah, tire wear, just it's awesome. Sliding around at the end of the run. Makes for, I'm sure, fun television, too.
Yeah, I think Ricky and I definitely enjoy these Atlanta races more than most. But, we saw at the end of this race a mad dash there in those final 6 laps. The battle between you and the 9 was really fun to watch there. What more do you think you could have, should have, would have done? Or, was there anything different you could do there in the closing laps to hold off the 9?
No, because I had damage. Me and Caleb and those guys, we all crashed up there, and I got damaged, so I was chasing it the whole time. After that, if I pulled out, it's like hitting a wall and so I had to stay in the draft the best I could.
Well, fair enough. Well, Ken, a great run for you here tonight in this 94 third place finish. Congratulations again on that. But before we let you go, I want to give you the opportunity. A lot of great partners on this car. Great looking race car, by the way. A lot of great folks cheering you on. The floor is yours. You know what to do.
All right, thank you. I just want to thank my teammates, Top Speed Racing, and what you guys do over here. Of course, Hobo, for having me. It's like my second season, so it's been a blast.
Okay.
And that's all I can think of right now.
Fair enough. Well, that's kind of this is the goal then. If you have any that come up throughout the week, next week just finish top 3 again, right? Like that's simple. Right. So there we go.
That's right.
There we go.
That'll work.
Ken, again, congratulations on the podium finish. Always a pleasure talking with you. Cannot thank you enough for your time, and again, good luck next week at New Hampshire.
Thank you. Thanks for what you guys do.
Ken Hansen, driver the number 94, your third place finisher here tonight from Atlanta. Ricky, I think that puts the bow. We're gonna sign, seal, and deliver this one home. And man, oh man, another spectacular Atlanta race.
Another spectacular Atlanta race indeed. Always unpredictable when we end up at Atlanta, and I don't know what else can you say, Joe. I had a blast tonight. I hope everyone at home did too.
I'm sure they did, and folks, you always have a blast when you tune in here on JTN. That's why you want to make sure you're subscribed. You click the bell icon. You'll be notified anytime we go live. You can also follow us on our social media at JoeTowNetwork, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're on all of them to make sure we serve you the best way possible. Again, folks, though, the next time we are live is going to be Thursday night, Bomb Squad Racing Cup Series action. We'll also be live again next Tuesday night here with HOBO Racing Cup Series action from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. With all that being said, though, folks, for all of us here at JTN, for Bristol, our producer, for my colleague Ricky Coletta, I've been Joe Towansky. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time live right here on JTN. So long for now, folks. Yeah, and they're going to be 3 wide coming to the checker. Never mind, they're going to be... Oh! Turn 4 into the trioval, Whitehill in through the grass. It's going to be Noah Joyce winning his first career race in the Red Bull Cup Series.
Off the line and a wreckage behind him. The cars flying everywhere. Cars upside down. It doesn't matter. Noah Joyce has done it. He's won at Daytona in the 3 car.
Behind, they're going to be side by side again. Contact there between Sinner and Bordeaux.
Oh, the contact! Oakley into the wall. That's going to be Jack Healy coming to the line.
Jack Healy wins the ride.